This is the Antigravity A1, a drone by Insta360. A while back, Insta360 made an attachment for the DJI Air 2S that enabled you to get 360-degree video from a drone. They therefore took that a little bit farther and have actually made their own drone. And it's funny because now DJI and Insta360 seem to have some beef. And that beef is presenting us this drone as well as a 360 version of DJI's Avata drone. So I've had this drone, I've been taking a look at it and I've been testing it. And I have a lot of important information for you if you're seriously considering buying this. There are some really solid pros to this drone, but there are also some very serious cons, and I'm going to talk about my experience. Also, by the way, I paid for this drone. So that means that whatever you're seeing is my genuine and honest opinion. I got no sponsors, so you definitely really don't want to miss this. So right out of the box, you're going to be presented with the goggles, the controller, and the drone itself. Now, some interesting things are, one, at the time of recording this, they do not have any other type of controller. That means that if you are used to flying sticks and would prefer to fly sticks, you don't have an option to do so. Also, you are basically forced into the goggles setup, really are locked into this as the only way to fly this drone. And we'll touch on that in a bit as well. Also, in the description, I'm going to include a link to some of the files that I captured on this drone. That is the actual original 360 photos, videos, etc., as well as some examples of me taking them into the software and reframing them. So you can get a full set of all the files you can get straight from this drone. You can download the anti-gravity software and load them into there and experiment and see if this is what you're looking for, all down in the description. So I'll include a drone invoice link down below that will let you go through and download those and experiment and look at those as well. The build quality, especially for something that is not DJI, is really solid. I find that especially with other drone manufacturers, you usually end up finding that the build quality of the materials that they use just doesn't cut it, whereas that is not the case here. This is really, it feels like a DJI product. I say that in that it is a really high compliment. DJI does a great job with their UI design. They do a great job with their materials. They do a great job making it feel premium. And this is just like that. It feels really solid. The goggles themselves are really well built. Everything is really well built. And that is a high compliment for especially a drone. The drone itself uses this obstacle avoidance, and it has two sensors and then two sensors on the bottom. This means that it claims 360-degree obstacle avoidance, but it actually just rotates the drone so wherever you fly, it always has that facing it, which is actually a very clever way to reduce weight. And with the 360-degree obstacle avoidance, it's a really great way to actually use that kind of setup. Also, there is no gimbal on this drone. The two 360 cameras are on the top and the bottom, and then there is kind of a little bit of some stabilizing and some dampers in here. But other than that, that is really the whole setup. So that means that overall, it looks and performs pretty solid. The goggles fit rather reasonably, and you have a lanyard as well as the battery itself that you will wear that seems to work pretty well. You're not putting it in your pocket, so it's not falling out. So it seems pretty solid. And then on the goggles themselves, you have a touch as well as a screen to show other people what's going on. The controller itself I found was pretty intuitive and also seemed to be very well designed. I didn't find myself really questioning where buttons were too much, and it did end up working kind of as expected. Also, the goggles have a narrow field of view. The screen itself is not really as immersive. I'd say it's even smaller than some of the DJI goggles that I've had. So the screen is a little small. I would say that's probably the least of my concerns. It's not that really big of a noticeable difference. The photo quality, as we touched on, for still frames, for non-moving subjects, any DJI drone over the last couple of years is going to come out on top just because of the megapixels and the ability to stitch them together. Now, if you're worried about stitch lines, wind, etc., then the 55 megapixels on this drone does okay. The video quality, though, is better and pretty much unmatched in anything else in the industry. And the quality, especially with some of the noise here, is actually pretty good. It's basically similar to a 360 camera that you could buy, that you would throw up in the air, and it does what you would expect. If you've never worked with a 360-degree camera, then that is something to probably keep in mind, that there is a pretty noticeable quality drop when you start cropping in. But if you have, it works as expected, and I would say it actually is a little bit more crisper, especially with the 8K than maybe some of the 6K versions if you've had those as well. So definitely for the 8K 360 cameras, this definitely does, I want to say, seem on par with most of them. The low light quality is pretty good, and in my opinion, I think if you really need the 360 quality aspect of it, if you really need the 360 part, then I think it's definitely doable. And I think it does add some unique advantages to reframing in post, as well as some unique shots that you can get. Insta360 probably has the best stitching in terms of 360 cameras, and I could not really even tell where the camera stitched half the time. Now, that's in final post-record video. I did notice when I was in the goggles, I could see where the stitch was, but other than that, it works just fine. And I found that the obstacle avoidance was extremely large in its radius. Like, there were some places that I wanted to fly that I could see pretty well, that like I had pretty good clearance. And then I also noticed that the drone wouldn't let me through. Okay, the obstacle avoidance is a little sensitive. The other issue too is you only have the ability to shut the obstacle avoidance off, not like reduce its range a little bit. And that would be nice. Like, the UI and the flight experience is as expected. It worked really well. I did find though, one of the interesting things is when you first start using this drone and you try to pull down on the trigger, sometimes you'll tilt your hands. So like, for example, you'll when you pull down on the trigger, you won't really keep it in the same spot. So trying to click on UI items, when you pull down the trigger, it like basically moves the stick, and then you end up not clicking on the items in the UI. So that was a bit interesting. Also, when you have the goggles here and you put in the covers, you mess up the interpupillary distance, and then you having to redo it every time you fly the drone. So that's also something to keep in mind. Also, apparently with the DJI Avata 360, or the 360 drone they're going to come out, it has the ability to switch the camera forward so it can take kind of standard video. You don't have an option to pick like a standard 4K video. You are stuck with 360-degree video all the time, which, to be fair, they're picking the market that they feel like they have the best advantage in, which, to be fair, is 360 video. But I do think like just having the ability to record 4K video like a standard drone, like just have it show like record video from a standard like drone view, and then have it look down, have like a standard drone, is not a huge complicated thing to add, but it was something that I felt like I was looking for. I understand they want to force you to fly the drone how it's intended, but at the same time too, I mean, we do, what is it, the cropped vertical video now on the frames. It's not a terrible ask to add that either. The UI on this drone is really solid as well. I would say that the whole user interface is pretty easy to navigate, pretty easy to understand. Nothing crazy there as well. It pops up, it overlays, and allows you to basically look around. Flying this drone is also very similar, that when you look around, you have the ability to fly in one direction and look around. And it does kind of create an interesting situation, which let's finally talk about. The stream quality of this drone is not good. And what I mean by that is it is at times extremely low frame rate. I feel like getting down to maybe single digit frames when recording 8K, as well as maybe, and I really think it's a limitation of what the drone's transmitting, because like it's not something like I can record on the goggles and it doesn't change the quality. But when I have it recording at 8K, or maybe even not recording at 8K, and I'm trying to fly around, like if I get behind something and the transmission isn't great, or even with direct line of sight, it's dropping down to maybe 15 frames a second. Maybe if you're behind something or just not directly visible to something, maybe down to single digit frames, as well as it makes it very difficult to use. And I honestly, it's so frustrating because everything else is so great about this, like the quality, the components, the UI, etc. But I feel like they just missed the bar on probably the most important thing. And it's not like you can just get a controller for this and get something else, like, and still use the drone. You have to use the setup currently. And in my opinion, as someone that's already sensitive to motion sickness, especially with poorly built VR setups, this just, it's already, if you take that out of the picture, just ignore the motion sickness part of it, it already is pretty bad. And then if you're any bit sensitive to motion sickness, it's going to cause issues. And then I even asked my brother, who's not really sensitive to motion sickness, and he got motion sick and he tried it. So I think it's probably a limitation of just the response time between the headset moving, then the drone itself choosing to show a different set or different point of the 360 degree view to then transmit back. I think the delay is okay. But I think the main issue is the delay is rough, but also it's the fact that the transmission quality is really, I want to say, lacking. Like when you use DJI's goggles, like even my DJI FPV system that I have, that I've had for like pretty much, it came out 5 years ago in 2020. It still produces what I feel like is usable video. Now, no, that is not a kind of a VR setup where when you move your head, it changes the angle. The newer goggles do have that, but something from 5 years ago was producing better stream quality into their goggles. So the goggles here are very nice, but they're also extremely, I want to say, lacking in the transmission quality. And the radio aspect of it, the thing that's transmitting that data, that whole process is not something that, especially because it likely needs more bandwidth, they can put a new algorithm in there, but this is a first gen product. I hate to say it, but first gen products don't tend to have the greatest record for getting software updates. If they get the transmission quality better in a future revision, which is likely what's going to happen, the V2, the A2 or whatever, Antigravity A2, then I think it will definitely be a different conversation than we're having now. Also, this drone costs $2,000. To be clear, you could get a DJI Mini 5 Pro, which is the same drone, get something that is a nice 1-inch sensor, and then use that, and it takes higher resolution 360 pictures, 72 megapixel 360 pictures, versus the 52 megapixels that you can take on the dedicated 360 degree drone. Mini 5 Pro that stitches them together. In my opinion, that works almost pretty much all the time too. I mean, you're taking pictures usually of nature or static spot. If you're taking 360 pictures that are requiring movement though, then you want to get this drone, because the Mini 5 Pro has to take and then stitch, versus this is all at once. Now, I understand this is great for influencers, and you want to have something that follows you around and, you know, allows you to kind of take and do fun angles and stuff. But if you're getting this for the goggles, you can get the Mini 5 Pro, get a pair of goggles, and get the controller that all works with it, that's DJI's equivalent of this, and get a very similar experience, at least with being able to move your head around and have the drone follow it, and kind of look like you're just using this, kind of use this and fly this the same way. If you're wanting the 360 degree aspect of it, that's great. I just think that right now it's such a great experience other than the transmission quality, which I feel like on the terms of the user experience, that's on the top. I don't know why in the world they thought it was a great idea to put something that like 5 to 10 frames at points and ship that for something that is less than 100 meters away that gets that bad of transmission. And the fact that this costs $2,000 is absurd to me, because for one, the goggles themselves, while the screen is nice to have on here, and my brother, when he was watching me fly this, definitely did see that, you don't need to spend the money on the screen and the touchscreen, because almost all the time you're just using the goggles themselves as the single pilot, and do what DJI did, which is have someone hook up their phone to it and see what's going on, and you can save money that way. So overall, my recommendation is, I think, for context, I paid for this drone and I am going to probably return it. Simply put, I actually have bought, I think this is the first drone that I have bought that I am actually returning. I was not feeling great by the end of flying this for like, I think 20, 30 minutes total. I can't use it. And it wasn't just me that had that issue. My brother did as well. Now, who knows? Maybe we both have the same issue. If you get motion sick, keep that in mind. That is specifically my reason. Whether or not that's a combination of the low frame rate, the issues with the frame rate, maybe it's the transmission quality combination, or maybe it's something just uniquely I'm encountering. Maybe if you do good with VR headsets, then I would say you're probably fine. But the transmission quality, I was so surprised that like that's the issue. That feels like the first thing. Like I noticed it pretty much instantly as soon as I was flying, as I was like, man, this is disappointing. I feel like before you decide to build a drone, that's the first thing you should try to figure out. And I don't think it's something that a software update is going to fix. I understand there's a lot of complexity that goes into making a 360 degree drone and then having it stream a certain set of the frame and then having that at a decent quality. But it wasn't like it was, I was recording at 8K 30 and it was streaming me the 30 like FPS video. It was really like 15, maybe 10, 9 FPS that I was getting from that frame. And I think it didn't have the processing to understand that, or to get that usable, but my gosh. So I went ahead and tried to return this, and they won't accept it. I want to be clear, I don't buy things to make YouTube videos about them and return them. I've actually never tried to return a drone, so I don't know what DJI's policy is. But this is not something that I could have figured out before I bought this, and I likely would not have made this video otherwise. So at the end, I'm kind of wondering what's going on, because they basically recommended that I give it to somebody, as it would be a great gift. And I don't know who has that much money just to give away, but it's not me. I would have much rather preferred to have spent that money on getting the DJI Avata 360 that likely is cheaper and also with less issues in the transmission system. And the person that I would probably give it to would be my brother, who also got sick from it. For the sake of the people watching this video, if you at any chance think that there might be an issue with you getting sick from it or not liking the really jittery transmission, don't buy it and get a DJI product if you can. There are ways to get them into the United States. You can buy them from eBay sellers in Korea that are really reputable. Yes, you lose out on some of the warranty support, but I haven't had any issue with those that I've bought that way. Again, I have bought lots and lots of drones before, and I've never had an issue. I've used lots and lots of different VR headsets and stuff like that too. While I am sensitive to those, I have never gotten within putting the headset on knowing, oh yeah, this isn't good. So very disappointed, not only in the drone, but also in the response. It makes me think that they knew this was going to happen if they are choosing to not even accept stuff right out of the gate. I mean, I think I initiated the return request between like 6 hours from when I got it, because I was like, I'm at least going to finish the video. But like, it was, I bought it with the full assumption I was going to keep the drone and want to keep it. So if I'm stuck with it, that is what it is. I'll hopefully find somebody that's interested in maybe buying it off of me that way. I just think that's a pretty crazy response compared to like what I've had with DJI. So, or even Potensic, Hover Air, any of the other companies. It's pretty absurd, and I can't recommend people buy it because I think the transmission is such a big issue that it's really hard to show. But like, I think transmission is such a big issue that it really causes people to doubt, especially that big of a purchase. So I would say please go with a DJI product instead, because you're just less likely to encounter that issue.